The 7th chapter of Two Blue Vortex showcased the most awaited fight of Boruto and Mitsuki, and as I already predicted, Mitsuki accepted his inferiority and saw this battle as a deathmatch. He was ready to sacrifice himself to protect Kawaki, but looking at how impulsively he went after Boruto, I really think he's not as smart as I thought. Back in chapter 5, there was this wire type of thing wrapped around a pole near Sarada and Sumire. After Mitsuki made his entry in the following chapter, many people assumed it to be a spy snake which was keeping an eye on the girls. But this theory got debunked when Kawaki was revealed to be the one who sensed Boruto in front of Mitsuki. However, the way he poisoned Kawaki yet again rose the possibility of him reaching up to the levels of the Kama duo. But the things that were revealed in this chapter tell a completely different story. Mitsuki might have reached his absolute best. He could be the strongest shinobi in Konoha if the Otsutsuki cyborgs are excluded, but even after that, he's a no match for someone like Boruto, who's literally on god level right now. A lot more was unveiled about Mitsuki's fate, starting off with the opening scene where he was telling Kawaki how much he means to him. The search of purpose was something that Mitsuki inherited from the very beginning. He was too desperate to find meaning in life, which is how we ended up finding Boruto and making him his son, someone who enlightens the darkness within him. Here he can be seen admiring Kawaki the same way he admired Boruto, just because they have unknowingly switched places. But this mysterious exchange of destinies has impacted Mitsuki in a really negative manner. The lust of blood streamed through his veins, and killing Boruto became the sole purpose of his life, symbolically saying the sun that once enlightened him had lost its light, and even though he somehow acknowledged this, there was nothing that he could do about it, simply because there was nobody who could give him an idea of what's happening and why his son is hesitant to shine upon him. Soon the fight between Boruto and Mitsuki began. The interesting part was that Mitsuki was using his most powerful transformation, yet the reaction on his opponent's face was unfazed. You can literally see how unbothered Boruto is right at this moment, as if he isn't taking Mitsuki seriously. It was pretty obvious from the beginning, considering how Boruto dealt with Code, who's more stronger than Jigen. The way Mitsuki thought he stands a chance is pretty pathetic, but it also reflects the influence of Kawaki on him. Kawaki can sacrifice his own life to protect Naruto, and Mitsuki has absorbed this quality, which explains his self-destructive behavior. He tried his best to get a jab on Boruto with his ruthless snake barrage, but as expected, he found no luck. The fight takes a pause for some time, with Boruto saying he expected Kawaki to be after him and not Mitsuki. He gets informed about the situation of Kawaki, and then Mitsuki reveals something which unveils the true potential of Boruto. He confirms Kawaki is no match for him, only because he was able to make Code retreat. Boruto gives a reality check to Mitsuki by telling him if Kawaki stands no chance, then neither does he. So this fight is basically pointless. Well, we can't blame Mitsuki for this, cause he's being completely delusional to even think of defeating an Otsutsuki level opponent with the Sage mode. Earlier I thought he might have some chance against Boruto if he somehow poisoned him the same way he put Kawaki to sleep, but Boruto explains why that's impossible later in this chapter. Mitsuki continues to gain the edge over him with the shadow snakes, but Boruto calmly tells him to not spoil the environment just for the sake of outnumbering him, cause it's of no use. The next thing in the chapter has spread debates over the internet about the fate of Boruto. Mitsuki tells him he's a burden on this world, so he should just die already, but Boruto responds by saying he can't die yet, just cause he has a lot of things to do. Now this isn't the first time when Boruto has used the example of him dying. Back when he faced Kawaki, he said dying in Konoha is not a bad idea, but not today. So what exactly is the deal with Boruto talking about his own death? Could it be that he has used his Otsutsuki powers to foresee a future where he is no longer alive? Or is it like he's fed up of everything that he had to suffer, but his shinobi genes won't let him die like this? Boruto's death is also synonymous to submitting his consciousness to Momoshiki. This is what the Otsutsuki had planned, but his plans got spoiled by Sarada. Now the thing with Boruto having the death talk is not as deep as some of you might think it is. I believe the reason he references his own death is only for the sake of savage replies. He's not going to die or get killed in the future. Even Momoshiki said his next death won't be reversible. Now you might say he would die at the very end of the story, but that's something I would not like to believe. There are more chances of a multiverse appearing in the story rather than Boruto's death, just because the author won't end such a profitable series to make the death of his MC poetic. After all, he was given a franchise of his own, so it doesn't make sense for him to die at the very end. I could give you an example of another popular anime and manga series, but I don't want to spoil the people who haven't watched it, so I'm not gonna mention its name. So for those of you who are familiar with this anime, whose name I'm gonna present, will quickly understand what I'm trying to explain. So in this anime, the main character dies in the very last episode, but the title of the series is not named after the main character. If this anime was named after the MC, then chances are they wouldn't have gone with the tragic death of the protagonist. Similarly, the focus of this series is primarily Boruto and how everything revolves around him in the story. If the story was named something like the Otsutsuki Tales, then there was a higher chance for this MC to die at the end, cause technically it would have never been about him, rather the Otsutsuki clan and how they ruined him. Looking at the performance of Two Blue Vortex and the obvious hints which indicate more Otsutsukis and such beings are about to appear, I don't think Kishimoto will cut the story short by making Boruto end his life, even as a sacrifice. Back to the manga, we then get to see Boruto in action when he infuses chakra into his sword to eliminate the snake clones of Mitsuki. By seeing the amount of power and speed that Boruto can fathom, Mitsuki gets surprised and calls him a monster. A few exchanges of lightning jutsus happen, and finally Boruto gains an edge over Mitsuki, enabling him to keep his sword on his neck. Mitsuki was prepared to die, and he believed Boruto would kill him right at this point. However, something unexpected happens for him when Boruto reveals a big truth to him. He tells him that how Kawaki, the sun that once used to shine upon him, has started to lose its charm. Mitsuki responds by saying he doesn't need to lend an ear to a traitor like him, and he shouldn't pretend like he knows him. Boruto concealed his sword and told Mitsuki if he's aware about the whereabouts of his son. Further, he adds in actuality, he is the real son of Mitsuki. This statement pisses off Mitsuki, so he wraps the body of Boruto with his snake. This panel pays homage to the iconic scene where Orochimaru wraps his snake around Itachi, who was also popularized as a traitor but turned out to be a hero at the very end. Boruto questions Mitsuki why his snake is hesitant to attack him, which is basically because he is the real son to the moon. Something I wonder is that whether Boruto himself figured this out or was enlightened by someone like Orochimaru or Kashin Koji. There's a good amount of chance for Orochimaru to be a part of Boruto's alliance, but that's a theory for another time. This also clears why Mitsuki couldn't poison him, even though we saw his snake with Boruto in the last chapter. Further, he tells Mitsuki that he must have realized his son Kawaki is not the same anymore and is slowly losing his light. Mitsuki gets speechless after this, and shortly we get to know that only he can differentiate if his son is the same or not. He lets Boruto free after hearing this, as he starts to realize that everything is actually making sense. Kawaki is not the son who once enlightened him, and after Boruto tells him to just find him if he needs a son, it felt like Mitsuki realized that he's actually the one who once gave him light. Chances are the next chapter will mark the removal of Mitsuki from the story just because he knows this detail. I have created a full video on this topic, so don't forget to check that out after this one. Boruto also unveils Naruto and his wife are alive, which surprises Ino and Shikamaru. It also seems like Shikamaru's intuition was after all correct, the gut feeling which prevented him from becoming the official Hokage. Naruto is indeed alive and could make an unexpected comeback in the next chapter. The conclusion of the chapter solidifies this theory, but before that, a dark reality about omnipotence gets revealed by Boruto. He says that everyone who has been affected by this spell will forget how this power works, eventually after figuring it out. He needs Shikamaru to have some blind faith on him like Sasuke if he wants to help him. Otherwise, his feelings won't let him see Boruto as an innocent. Shikamaru tells Boruto if he doesn't kill Kawaki and decides to go on his brotherly resolve, he will be hunted by the shinobi world and no one will ever find out about his innocence. Boruto replies by saying that's what he was expecting, so he's fine with it. This acceptance of Boruto is a really heartbreaking thing to begin with. He has accepted his fate of never gaining his old life back, cause even if he ends up reversing the spell, there is no way his conflict with Kawaki would get resolved by that. But as we have seen the prologue scene, it's pretty clear that Kawaki will fail Boruto's expectations by crossing all his limits. In this chapter, he can be seen cursing Mitsuki for poisoning him, and it's pretty evident that he's no match for an opponent like Boruto. So how in the world will he rank up to his level in the future? Well, I feel like it will most likely happen when he absorbs someone like Jura, or maybe Amado has a secret code for him that will make him much more stronger. I will bring a full video on these theories very soon, so don't forget to subscribe to watch them first. The final panel showcases Jura and his thirst of knowledge. It seems like he tried to find the answers of his questions by enlightening himself with a lot of books, but just because the bookish knowledge couldn't provide an answer to the questions he was seeking, he makes up his mind to visit Naruto to clear his doubts. This brings a lot of questions to my mind, like if he would be able to enter the Daikokuten dimension, or will he need to fight Kawaki and humble him? On one hand, he wants to devour Naruto, and on the other side, he wants to seek the answers to his questions. Maybe after eating the seventh, he could inherit all his knowledge, which includes the answers he is seeking. So will he be able to enter the Daikokuten with ease? Or are we getting to see the first serious fight of Kawaki in the next chapter? Well, that's a theory for another time, and you can find some more amazing content by clicking on these videos. I will see you next time.